The dad deficit in America. And I use that term because we're always hearing about deficits and how our government is spending through its debt, which it is, ridiculously so. You know that you cannot do that in your households, you cannot do it in your personal businesses, and yet our government continues to spend money it doesn't have and borrow money that it cannot afford to ever be able to pay back. You can join Congress and you can go 17 years without paying your taxes, as Charlie Rangel did. And the best that you can really fear is you might have to get up and make a tearful an apology for having a misunderstanding. Let me ask any of you to go with 17 years and not paying your taxes and breaking the rules of the IRS, and to see if you can get by with a box of Kleenex before them. And that all that will happen to you is you just say, I am so sorry, I misunderstood. I just wrote the tax laws. Heck, I didn't know how to understand them. I mean, that's as ridiculous as we're going to know what's in this health care bill after we pass it. You know you can't live like that. Well, because we are living in a time in which our government is into deficit spending, I want to speak a little bit about what I call the dad deficit, because if you want to know how we can save $300 billion a year in America, here's how we would do it. Pretty simple. Won't be real popular with people who, again, don't want to think that what the family leader is about is important, but here's the reality. $300 billion a year is the dad deficit. That's the amount of money that government spends to prop up families whose fathers have abandoned their own kids and have left it to government programs to pay for. If fathers raised their own kids and supported the children that they biologically fathered, it's a difference of $300 billion a year. That does not even start getting into the additional cost in which a child that grows up, a child in poverty in a single home, is 5 times more likely to be in juvenile delinquency and drop out of school and use drugs and alcohol than a child who grows up in a family that's stable with both a mother and a father. I'm not here today to denigrate people who are working very, very hard as single parents, doing the very best they can. I've seen ladies for whom I have the greatest deal of both respect and the utmost of admiration, because they will come home late at night having worked 2 jobs, doing the best they can. They've had some guy walk out on them and leaving them with both the responsibility and the entire burden of trying to raise children. And this is in no way a denigration of the extraordinary effort that many people are making as single parents. My point is that unless we uphold the importance of marriage and the family, I don't care how much we change the tax code and the tax policy, we will never be able to get our economy righted, because what has wronged it is not just an economic issue. It is an issue that goes to the very heart of what the family leader and organizations like it are about. And that is that the most basic form of government is not the government that we elect to go to Washington, or for that matter, Des Moines. It is the most fundamental, the most simple form of government is the government that exists right there in the home. It is the single most important unit of government. And it is from that unit of government, the family, from which we learn our basic values and structures. It's where we learn manners. It's where we learn that some things are right and some things are wrong. It's where we learn how to behave. It's where we learn our first lessons of economy. That if we work, we get rewards. If we are lazy, we get punished. Do you get the impression that there are some people who never learned that in the first 4 years of life and probably never will learn it because government has told them, don't worry, you can recklessly live your life and we will bail you out, whether you're an individual or you're the richest corporation in the country? Is there not something morally repugnant with the idea that we're going to tell people that it doesn't matter what they do and how irresponsible they are because somebody else will clean up their mess? What happened to the basic idea that most of us learned when we were little kids at mom and dad's knee that told us that we are responsible for cleaning up after ourselves? Now, if we don't get that when we're 4, we probably won't get it when we're 40, but we're going to have a nation full of spoiled brats and a nation full of people expecting somebody else to pay for the mistakes they make. By the way, that's where we are today as a nation. So whether you're the biggest company, or whether you're an individual, we've been now conditioned to believe that it is the government's responsibility, not our own, to clean up our mess and to bail us out. And somewhere along the way, it's critical that we come back to the simple idea that the drawbridges of democracy start with personal responsibility and the simple notion that the best government is a mother and a father raising children in the context of understanding that some things are always right and some things are always wrong. And when we do the things that are right, we will benefit. And when we do the things which are wrong, we will suffer the consequences of them. That is important.